Here's something you're not going to come across every day while you're inspecting a property, but you will if you inspect enough of them. Take a look at the crack here. This is some serious structural damage. And if I looked at this crack, and let me just go ahead and click to the other side here, this crack goes all the way through. And of course we've got we've got a nice gap here. And you can see where this thing was tight at one time. Simply by looking at, kind of like putting a puzzle together, if you could just imagine lifting the edge of the porch up in the front area, then this gap would be filled. And so that tells us that we've got some type of settlement issues. So this structure right here has been settling into the ground for quite some time and is actually pulling away from the building and causing all of the structural damage here. And probably, for the most part, this whole thing would need to be torn out and rebuilt. Again, wide gap. We're separating the stairway, separating from the building, and then, of course, these structural cracks. Another thing I'd like to point out, and again, if you watched enough of these videos, you're going to realize how important it is to look for things that aren't matching. Something looks different. I mean, look at right here. Look, we have a patch. Looks like it's definitely a different color than this. And over here we've got the same thing. Anything that looks different is going to be a clue that something was either repaired, modified somehow. And this might be the case here. If we look at this step, the last step, we can see that the top is a little rougher and more of the aggregate, the rock, has been exposed. But it hasn't on this step or even the finish up here. And to find out why, we're going to have to look around. Now, the first thing I would look at when I came to something like this would be the roofing. It would be my guess that the roof dumps onto the last step here, the water that drains off of the roof, maybe from the little porch here. And of course, if that isn't the case, and you were going to keep the stairway, then you would need to find out. Now, I need to point this out. This is extremely important for people who are doing their own repairs. If you come across something like this in your mind, you could think, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take this stairway out. I'm going to take the porch out. It's done. I'm going to build another one. That's fine. But if you don't figure out what's causing the damage, the original damage, what it is exactly that's causing the bottom step here to look like this, what it is that's actually exposing the aggregate. And again, this could have actually been finished this way. Do not rule out, you can make as many assumptions as you want to, and that's just going to leave you back at square one most of the time. You've got to figure out, you've got to come to a real conclusion, something that makes sense. If the water isn't draining off of the roof, then you could say, hey, maybe this was finished this way, and leave it at that. Build your new structure. But if you start to see signs of this happening again, the same kind of a problem, you're going to have to look for other things. Is water coming from somewhere else? Is it the soil? Maybe the soil's causing this. Excessive wear, I don't know. But the last thing you want to do is replace the entire porch and then end up with the same problems. That could also be applied, that type of thinking, to the structural damage. You're probably not going to want to build it the same way as it was originally built. Something like this might require a large footing. It might require some of the dirt to be removed and recompacted. But to build something again and end up with the same type of damage within a short period of time, you're just throwing your money away. So part of home inspecting, part of putting your detective cap on, will be to figure out what caused the original damage and then try to figure out a way to keep it from happening again.